Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll be doing a review on the RDX F6 Cara speed bag, so stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the RDX F6 Cara speed bag. This retails for $49.95 on the RDX website. I got mine in the all black with white colorway. There's other colors you can choose from. They all come in black. The only difference is the little strip that goes vertically will change color. So it'll be blue, red, purple, pink, and other colorways you can choose from. Included with the speed bag, they also give you a speed bag swivel. So if you don't have a swivel already, this is included in the price of $49.95. So that is a really nice feature. I didn't use this and open it because I already have a swivel that I enjoy using and works very well. So I just am going to keep this as extra, or maybe I'll just give this to a local gym and they can use it. So you do get that speed bag swivel. Dimensions wise, this bag is about 6 inches in diameter and about 10 inches in height. It utilizes a synthetic Maya hide leather. It's basically RDX's synthetic leather they use in a lot of their equipment, including their boxing gloves. It also has that loop at the very top. I'm not sure where this is manufactured. There's no actual tags on the bag, but if I were to guess, I would say that this bag is either going to be made in Pakistan or China. It has that RDX logo that goes vertically, and you'll also know that there's some ghost script as well. If you look closely in the video, you can probably see it, that it has that little ghost script design. So you have that on 2 panels on the bag. You have the stitching in between each panel that's done pretty well, not too bad. And then you can also see the orange bladder, latex bladder on the inside with the laces that enclose the bladder. So if you need to switch the bladder out, you can. And if you need extras, you can go to the RDX website and order it there. I always recommend ordering the bladders, if possible, from the same company that you bought the speed bag from, because oftentimes different models, the port where you inflate the bag is different for certain bags, so you have to keep that in mind, as well as the dimensions. Some bags are larger, some bags are smaller. So if you get a bladder that's too small and you put it in this bag, when you inflate it, it's not going to be big enough, and you're going to have all of these little flat spots because the bag can't inflate large enough to fill up the bag or the casing. So you have the laces that go all the way to the top. You also have the little metal rivets that keep everything together, and you have this loop at the very top that connects to the swivel, which I'll explain here in a second why I'm not a fan of this particular design. And then at the very bottom, you also see that it says RDX Ultimate Speedball, and this one actually has a recessed inflation port at the bottom. Now there's pros and cons to that. The pros is that it has a nice flush, seamless feeling to it. You don't have to worry about hitting it, and it looks good, right? But the bad thing is that if it gets off center, there's been a couple times where when I put the needle through to fill this up with air, it wouldn't go through into the actual bladder because the hole where the needle inserts into was a little off center. So it was kind of pushed underneath this synthetic leather, and I had to kind of like dig it back out for it to be realigned with the center of the bottom of the speed bag. So I'm not a big fan of that, especially with a speed bag, because when you're hitting it, you're going to be hitting it this way anyways. There shouldn't be any really reason. I mean, sometimes you see boxers, they'll do kind of like, they'll play around with it and they'll do uppercuts. But to have an exposed inflation port to me is preferred, because then you don't have to worry about the bladder misaligning with the actual casing of the speed bag. Now, dimensions wise, like I mentioned earlier, it is a 6-inch diameter bag and 10 inches in height. So this is relatively a larger bag than I typically use, and because of the size of it, it has a little bit more weight, because not only are you accounting for the size of the bag itself, but you're also accounting for the size of the bladder on the inside. So you're carrying more weight, and to me that kind of takes away from the speed and the rotation of the bag, or for it to rebound quicker, if that makes sense. Maybe for beginners it's better, but even then I would still start someone that's new to using a speed bag on one that's a little bit smaller than this. And that brings me to the top loop. Now I have my rival bag here just for to kind of give you guys comparison, not only in sizing. So you can see the rival is definitely smaller in size, it's lighter, so it rebounds quicker. You also notice that the rival has the exposed inflation port, and that's basically what I was talking about. There's no way for that a needle to not be able to go in because it's going to be exposed all the time. But you'll also notice is that top loop at the very top. On the Rival, it's very close, it's very flush to the very top crown of the bag. So right here to the top of the loop has very minimal distance. And what that does is when you're hitting it, it allows it to rebound. You don't have that distance that has to travel as far. It just boom, 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 boom. With this one, you can see just how much further it is. And when you put the swivel piece in there, it's very loose fitting. And that just, again, takes away from the speed of the bag. So I'll show you that here. I'm gonna go ahead and attach it. And then again, the first thing you'll notice is this thing, the U pin or the U bar. I stick it right through. And right there, right off the bat, you just have a ton of wiggle room for it to move. And again, when it starts to swing, it just has much more distance for this bag to have to travel. And again, that to me takes away from the speed of the bag. No pun intended. Go ahead and slide that cotter pin in there and make sure it's locked in. So there you have it. I'm gonna go ahead and start hitting it. And this is the same effort level I use with any of my other speed bags. So if you watch any of the other videos, it's not like I'm hitting it harder or slower than I kind of vary my speed, but it's essentially the same. But when I'm hitting it, it definitely feels heavier. Like when you land your hand on the bag, it feels like you have to hit it with a little bit more power for it to move as fast as like that Rival bag. And even then, it just doesn't have the same quick, fast rebound that I would like to see compared to like the Rival or even my Tidal super speed bag, the yellow one I did a review on years ago. It does feel a little off balance sometimes as well. There's a couple times where you hit it and it feels like it kind of just cocks a little bit. And again, I think it's because of this loop being too large at the top right here. It just has too much give. And sometimes when you hit it, it might just kind of come off balance and then you have to kind of reset yourself a little bit. Yeah, so I think my biggest complaint with this bag is going to be that loop and just the overall size of the bag. I know this is not a Rival review video, but just to show you guys, I'm gonna go take this RDX bag off. So if you guys can rewind the video or you can have a visual memory in your head on the speed on that bag, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my Rival up just to kind of give you guys a comparison. So the Rival, you can see now, has a much more shorter distance to travel with that loop. And of course, the dimensions make a difference. It being a smaller bag definitely helps out, and lighter. But regardless of your experience level, whether you're completely new to using a speed bag or you're advanced, I definitely think that this bag right here is the way to go. And you don't have to worry about it being off balance as well because of that top loop being a lot closer to that pin. So much faster and smoother in my opinion than that RDX. And again, that's just to point out the flaws I found with the RDX speed bag compared to something like this. Just have a smoother experience hitting the bag. And again, if you're completely new and you're starting off real slow, I think that misconception sometimes is, well, the bag is smaller, it's going to move faster, so it's going to be harder for me to hit. And that's not true. I feel like, yeah, it's smaller, but you'll start to form good habits over bad habits from the get-go. And even if you have to start off slowly, you won't have to buy another bag later down the road because you can still stay with the same one for someone that is a lot more experienced, and you can go faster. So that to me is going to be the biggest difference and probably the biggest drawback with this RDX bag. It's called the speed bag, and I just feel like it's slow for a speed bag. And you know, at the price point of basically $50, I feel like there's a lot other better options out there. There's so many different brands, Ringside, Tidal, Rival, Reyes makes a great speed bag as well. I've done reviews on so many of them, but at this price point, I definitely think RDX can do better than this. Maybe I'll try a smaller version of this bag, and hopefully one that has a little bit less of this top loop that doesn't give too much give when it swings. But for $50, I would definitely recommend with going something like this Rival speed bag, something from Tidal like the Gyro Balance or even the Super Speed bag. And everything's kind of relatively within the same price range, you know, $50 plus or minus $10. Or if you really want to go with a nice quality bag, you can even go with the Reyes, which to me performance-wise is very similar to this Rival, just the qualities is a lot better in my opinion. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find this RDX F6 Cara speed bag, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.